Hi, everybody. It's day 3 of Consciousness, Life, and the Universe, Sourcing a Miraculous World. So on day 3, I want to talk about debunking the miraculous. And I think that for myself, and probably many others, for years we've thought of the miraculous as some like impossible, genius gift that maybe a few like masters can manage, but for the rest of us, no. and, and I just am here to say that that is not true. So, and it's taken me a little while to really get that. I mean, I did a workshop in Australia about 4 or 5 years ago. It was called the Miraculous Body, and I was hosting it. And I started to say, well, sometimes with people I can access the miraculous. It's easy to do it for myself. And the person beside me, the woman said, but Solara, I'm always the miraculous. I was like, oh, wow, really? Okay. So of the 13 women in the room, who's always the miraculous? And 6 of the 13 put up their hands. And then, wow, did we go for it on a whole new conversation then. So each one was sharing what they did, and then we created the consciousness of the miraculous on the planet. So my particular focus is on sourcing miraculous world and bringing the miraculous to outcomes for uh, global things that happen, national things, working with my coaching clients, for myself, and so I'm going to talk about that. But also, if you'd like to see some other versions of the miraculous, particularly in terms of with the physicality, on my Maya and Ushma's page called The Awesomeness of New. If you just type in The Awesomeness of New, you'll see there are 2 interviews on there. One with Charan Sardar, who's an epigeneticist. She's a PhD student and is trained in genetics. And she can work with the DNA of a person and completely alter it into your optimal potential. She can do that with pain. She can do that with other things as well. So Ushma and I did an interview with her where you can look at how she does that. Then also I did an interview with the wonderful Tanya Sheik, and she literally healed herself of 5 life-threatening illnesses in 5 months. And in that interview, I talk about that as well. So those are just a couple of examples. There are many more things like that. But so I want to talk about debunking the miraculous, and particularly about sourcing the miraculous in the world. One of the things that when I began to work, I was working with potential, and potential is kind of in the field around you. It's already in your body. It's something that's just waiting to be. And then I began to work with people's beings and their bigger purpose and the evolving bigger purpose of them. And I could see I was reaching to something that wasn't just sitting in the field as potential. It was some other new possibilities. And then I and my other pals, we started to work with limitless possibilities and pulling them out of the ethers and just new ideas, genius innovations, possibilities for life, etc. Now, through all of this, we're sourcing space. It's not the same as holding space. Like when you're holding space, you're like, I'm holding it for you to be okay. But when you're sourcing space, it's like, you don't know what the outcomes are going to be. You source the space for things to show up. And I'm saying that because when you're sourcing the miraculous for a person, for a nation, for the world, for some particular circumstance going on, you really don't know what to do. You have to surrender everything you've learned, everything you know. And it's not that sometimes you might not like slide into and tap into things maybe that you've learned in the past or that you've done in the past. But I find that the miraculous is a surprise every single time. And my job in sourcing the miraculous is not to try and set an outcome. So if I'm working with someone who has something going on, and I like call the miraculous, it's like pulling whooshes out of the ethers and just out of their deep physicality, out of their greater being, out of the universe, out of the source space of us all. And it's like I don't try to place them into expectations or agendas or outcomes, because if I do that, I limit it. It's like, let's call it the universe. It's like the universe has incredible, miraculous possibilities waiting for us at all times. But often we walk around in life not even realizing that that's possible, not seeing everything that happens as an opportunity for the miraculous to show up. So I'm going to give you an example. So yesterday I was walking home from Tesco's, and the cashier at Tesco's had been coughing a little bit. And as I was walking home in the bright sunlight, I felt this boom. You know how you feel something land in your lungs? Like, I was like, uh-oh, breathe, breathe. And, came home, took a strepsil, which is good for that kind of thing. And then by the time I hit the evening, there it was. I could feel the lump in my throat. You know, when you swallow, oh, here it comes. This is going to be like a cold and, all that stuff. So I poured energy onto it, not just like here, like trying to do some healing. That's not what I'm talking about. I elevated myself and it into a level of being in which nothing untoward can exist. Now, I wasn't trying to get rid of it. I also embraced it, loved it, cherished it, asked what it was offering me. And it was offering me more play in the miraculous for myself. So then I took another strepsil before I went to bed. I got up, I took another strepsil. I took some elderberry syrup, which is really good for these kind of things. And you know what? It's almost gone. Like, when I feel fabulous, I feel great. I can feel that, and if I need to do it again, it's just like this. It's like an ecstatic movement. It and I are in a dance, and I will tell you something wild. I even had a chat with it. I said, what shall I call you? And it said, you can call me Miraculous. And I was like, okay, I'm calling you Miraculous because you're giving me the space for work and get some more. Now, what about that? And I could see that as a kind of like a virus or a bug, it has a cellular structure, a genetic makeup, you could say. And I could see that I could elevate that. I could take it to the next level, that it and I could be in a partnership to elevate flus, colds, viruses. And what was interesting is I did that with it. It said, I'm transmitting that to all the other viruses like myself. So I wasn't just doing something in myself, I was doing it across the board. I was like, oh, wow, that's so exciting. That's fairly new. I mean, I should have thought of that before because I do work collectively like that. But I thought, oh, wow, this is exciting. This is different from like trying to get rid of a cold and then looking, what's wrong with me? Why do I keep getting these colds? No, take everything that happens as a miraculous opportunity to play, to become, to create, to innovate, to find something new in the world. And don't try and work on yourself. Like you can see, I'm elevating it. When you work on the greater picture first and foremost, and you bring the miraculous with no expectations of outcomes, like if I'm supposed to have a cold, then okay. But I don't think that's what I'm supposed to have. I think I'm supposed to be playing with the miraculous, and so I'm having a ball doing that, actually, and seeing what comes. So that's just an example. Now, if I applied that to something in the world, let's take the coronavirus, for example. Another group that I work with, we're called Miraculous Maestros, we took the coronavirus just like that, and we were being with it like a gift. And what would it be like if it was elevated, and if it, went to the next levels of itself as an evolved piece. And we saw all the contributions it was giving us, more care and love with animals, which was how it all started, more realization of how interconnected we are, the need to boost our immune systems and to have natural ways of doing that, and just how to take care of ourselves better. So it's already gifting us amazing things. And yesterday in a call with Miraculous Maestros, I was doing something else, and all of a sudden, the coronavirus template came in, And it said, hey, it's Lara. And I was like, yeah, what? And it said, I've moved from coronavirus to coronation virus. I was like, wow, that's really cool. And I think that I had this image of it crowning people and offering them gifts. Now, could we embed miraculous possibility into something like that? So, that it's a great thing for us and it evolves and we evolve. Yes, I absolutely believe so. Now, I'm using these kind of viruses and colds and flus as an example, but you could do that with anything. You could do that with something that's going on in the world. Like, let's say you love your country and you want to see your country elevate. You can actually be with it. You can't have a judgment or an assessment of what the problem is. You can't be in that space in order to work with the miraculous. You have to release all your judgment and opinions. You have to come into like a pure source space. The deep core opens up. You come into a kind of ecstatic relationship with the universe, and you call the whooshes of miraculous possibility and miraculous creation, miraculous innovation into the space. And then you just send it out as a gift into let's say you're doing your nation, into the world, into the universe, with someone you're working with, etc. That's how I do it. There may be many, many, many more ways of doing it, but that's how I do it. And I love doing it. In fact, I've gone from, in earlier years, I was like, no, don't bug me with stuff. If you want to do a session, we'll do a session, and now I'm like, yeah, you need some help. Message me. Because I'm having so much fun and it puts me in this amazing high vibe space. And so I'm encouraging all my buddies, like, tell me if you need some help with anything. I'm here. I love doing it. It's not a problem. It all works out brilliantly. So it's a complete kind of turnaround. And it's been like the last maybe 3 or 4 months for me like that. So it's really exciting. I love playing in miraculous creation, miraculous innovation, miraculous possibility. So there you go, debunking the miraculous. All things are possible. And you will find your way to do it. Yours will be different than mine. And I'm looking forward to tomorrow because we're going to talk about sourcing a miraculous world. Tomorrow we'll do some work with that. So there you go. That's it for today, everybody. Lots of love. May you have a miraculous, amazing day. Have fun. Bye.